With the help of me, myself, and I, as a model, I'm going to walk through some standing headshot poses. With any of these, I will often tell my clients to distribute their weight, right? So I tell them to pick a hip or step a foot forward or back. Okay, let me skip to the part where I'm ready to pose here. Starting off, we have our hands on our hip. Okay, then we move our elbows back for a variation. We can drop an arm, and from there we can, play with angles a little bit, and we can, of course, wrap an arm around. So that's kind of what I'm showing you here. Now, with many of these, you'll see me varying up my angles, my body angles, my shoulder angles, and then, of course, expressions. So don't pay too close to all of my expressions here because I didn't take this too seriously for demonstration purposes, but you get the idea. Now we have pockets. Pockets are a fantastic thing to bring for a client that's super nervous because it gives you an instant place to put your hands and all that nervous energy. So a lot of the same variations here, one in, one out, a full hands in pocket or half, have the thumb out, back pockets, and of course all of the angles. So there's a lot of things you can do to play here. All right, so now I am going to go to folded arms. Folded arms are another super popular, common one to start off with. There are a few options. Now let me get to the point where I start actually talking about that. So I have an alternative to the traditional arm fold, and that's kind of where I tell you to hug yourself first with one, and there's a lot of variation of where you can have that hand end up, and then the other arm will just lay on top. So from here, of course, same kind of variations. I do find this folded arms to be a little bit more soft, and I find it to give us a little bit more wiggle room on where the hand goes and for placement of posing. So kind of depends on who you're working with and the end result that you're going for, but it's kind of my favorite. As a comparison, there's the two. So then we have to flow through all of our angles, right? We turn the body, we play with shoulders, we move at the hips, and expressions. Now we go to another pretty common one. I won't spend too much time on this one. Pretty self-explanatory with just the grabbing of the arm. And we flow through a lot of the same variations there with angles, expression, body, all the things. I'll let that go through. Next up, we're going to start flowing through the one arm up. So you have like a folded here, and then you're just gonna take an arm up. Well, I'm gonna rest like an elbow on this hand or wrist or something. So the first place is the chin, the first touch point. I like to make sure I'm not covering too much of the client's face or my own face. So there's a comparison of the two there because I want the face to be the focus. So just kind of keeping that in mind. Other touch points, a necklace. A lot of play you can do there. And then there's a collar. We can play with collars or jackets. Whoa, excuse me. This just totally dropped. Okay, are we still? I think we're still fine. And then we can play with it. We can do the neck situation and then hair if you have it. So we can also just break the wrist. So you can break the wrist inward or you can break it out. So there's options there. And then of course, every one of these look great with some angle variations. So a lot of me showcasing that here, change up the expression, have different touch points to kind of play it up. And depending on what your end result is, like are you going for playful or cutesy or demure, as was trendy lately on Instagram, you'll see what kind of feels right for your client, your end result, your business, the brand, etc. and your body. So now you're all loosey-goosey, hopefully. You might feel comfortable enough to start playing with your own freestyling with your arms and your body. So you'll see me kind of going through those here. Okay, so then we're also going to go back to a tried and true, which is something I've talked about before in previous headshot posing videos, which is the very Peter Hurley-esque Subway sandwich kind of thing. So that's kind of what I'm showing here. Some variations of that would be the hands on the hip, with the elbows back. It's not quite as clean, and then you have just the arms behind your back. You do have to be careful with this one. I don't love it because you can lose arms, and it also can bring it just, I don't know, it's not my favorite, but it is an option. Okay, well that wraps this up. Now we move on to bringing in some props into some of these poses. So let me bring that up. Okay, so as I was showing those poses here, those are some of the most versatile ones. You can pop in just about any prop into that hand, right? So we have a camera, we've got a phone, maybe just depending on your brand, the business, like what it is you're trying to kind of showcase there. So there's the phone. What did I bring up next? What do we got? We've got a coffee mug. So I'm trying to like, also don't mind the remote in all of these. You get the idea. So coffee mug, a lot of options there. You'll kind of just have to see what works best for, what makes sense, I guess, for the prop you're holding. Just sort of very quickly demonstrating those options here. And then we have, let's say I'm bringing in a book. Look at me trying to find a page. I don't know. There's a lot of bookstagrams out there. I don't know. You do you. Whatever prop makes sense for you. And what else do I bring? I think, oh, the laptop. So maybe the laptop makes sense for you. So there you go. And then I think I start flowing through a few more options. Okay, so if you take that touch point one with a wrist, I didn't quite flow through that, but it is another one you can do for standing. It's awkward with the remote, so do mind that. But wrist and cuffs, things like that, there's a lot of options there. You can pop in a prop there instead if you'd like. So for the flowing again, I've got the phone, and then it looks like I'll be bringing up the book. Yep, got the book. It's also awkward with the remote. So there's the book, and then we have a camera. Very awkwardly holding it with the remote. Don't mind all that. Put the camera wherever it makes sense. Like I said, I'm just sort of like demonstrating very roughly here, but the prop will also kind of dictate how you pose with it because of how you would use the prop, right? Coffee mug again for demonstration. And then I think I wrap it up with a laptop one more time, but more front on, which is a little awkward for a laptop. Laptops look best at an angle, but I did one front on anyway, just for fun, and what that would look like. And then we go side on, and we kind of vary up our expression and angles there. So don't take a lot of the, end results as perfection here. I kind of just flowed through that really quickly for demonstration purposes, but I hope that this was helpful. I will, at the end of this, kind of just put all of the photos up so that you can kind of just see them all at once. And that's a wrap on this. All right, bye.